And we begin with prayer in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God of pilgrimage, be with us on our journey through life. Guard and defend us, shelter and feed us, challenge and inspire us, teach us and lead us, welcome us always. Allow us to rest always in your love. Guide us to walk in your way. Help us to detect your presence with us always. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. And we, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, be glorified in all places through the Immaculate Virgin Mary. Amen. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Kulin Nation, and pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, for they hold the memories, traditions, and culture, and the hopes of Aboriginal Australia. We remember that this land was and always will be another's dreaming. We make this statement believing that we can walk together to a better future, because Emmanuel College commits itself to reconciliation. As an Emmanuel community, we commit ourselves to accepting everyone as their authentic selves. Each of us are created by God thoughtfully and deliberately, just as we are. Everyone's voice will be heard and everyone will feel loving acceptance and inclusion. So just before we head off into our presentation today, I'm going to introduce the members of the Learning Executive that are here with us tonight, and who will be able to, as I said, later on, each of us will present, but we'll also be here to respond to any questions that you have. So my name's Nicole Allen. I'm the Deputy Principal Learning and Teaching, but also here tonight, we also have our two learning and teaching leaders of pedagogy. So Leah Elmer, who is, I'll give a wave, Leah Elmer from Notre Dame campus and Rebecca Eldridge from SPC campus. And we also have with us Daniela Bombardieri-Zabo, who is our learning and teaching leader for student progression at SPC. And also with us, but at the moment in a car, so she won't be able to give you a wave, is Anita Duhigg, who is our Deputy Principal Inclusive Practices. But she will be around later on for our question time and is keeping an ear on proceedings at the moment. So a number of the members of our Learning Executive are here, as I said, to respond to any of those questions that you might have later on. But first, as I said, about 20 minutes of a bit of a presentation and a bit of a summary of some of the important areas connected to learning and teaching for our Year 7s. But we're really important that we start off with that, that very first collegial vision of what it is that we're trying to achieve with your sons and daughters. And as the slide says, we recognise the need to know our students as young people and as learners, and to make sure that we're able to serve each of them individually in terms of their own need. We really work hard to make sure that every classroom experience reflects the learning needs at each phase of secondary schooling. And Year 7's a very particular special phase in terms of that transition from primary school to secondary school. And we're very aware that there are specific things that are challenges for our students at that time and for our parents sometimes as well. And just want to reiterate that we're here to support, and more than anything, we want that transition to be as successful as possible. As it says at the bottom there, our aim is for our students to leave the college confident and well prepared for the future, and more than anything, equipped and empowered to make a difference in the world, to make a really positive difference in the world. And that's what we're all about. Right, so to give you a little bit of a summary of the curriculum and the specifics for Year 7, I'm going to hand over to Rebecca Eldridge.
Thanks, Nicole. So tonight I just really wanted to go through with you a little bit about the curriculum that your children will be studying at Emmanuel College in Year 7, but also to show you the progression and the pathway options as they go through 7 to 10. On the slide at the moment, you can see that at the bottom end are all the different learning areas that the students over the course of their time at Emmanuel College will study subjects from. So from religious education, English, maths, humanities, science, the arts, technology, health and physical education, languages. And all of the curriculum for those learning areas are mandated for us by the Victorian curriculum and the VCAA. So they determine what knowledge and skills we need to be teaching your children at each of these different year levels. At Year 7, you can see the line. We really try and encourage our students, or sorry, to give our students a real breadth of knowledge and skills across these learning areas. So throughout the year, they will study, as I said before, each of those learning areas. The only difference is in the arts and the technology. So in each of these two learning areas, in the arts, the students in Year 7 will study music and art. And in technology, they will look at coding and Lego. Can you go to the next slide, please, please, Nicole? So in Year 7, as I said, there's those core subjects and the elective subjects. So those elective subjects, they study for 1 semester each, and languages is the same. So 1 semester of Japanese and 1 semester of Italian. And at the end of Year 7, the students will be invited to choose which language they would like to continue to study in Year 8 for the entire year. And you will be a part of that process as well, trying to help inform your child which language they would prefer for Year 8. In our junior course guide, which is available on Sector Engage for you to access, and on Sector Learn for the students to access, as well as on the college website, you will find information about each one of these learning areas, and in particular, the specifics of what your child will be studying in each one of them. So please go onto that course guide and have a look. When we start looking at the subjects between Italian and Japanese at the end, this course guide is really important because it will give an overview about what they will study within that Year 8 Italian or Year 8 Japanese. But again, you'll be guided by that, by all of us towards the end of the year.
Now handing over to Daniela.
Good evening, everyone. So in terms of the subjects that your child will undertake this year, we assess them as to how they're progressing throughout the year. So students will undertake a number of formative and summative assessments for each subject that they do. And the summative assessments, the results of those will be posted on Sector. So it's really good for you to be able to see, as they're completing the work, what they're achieving, and to get feedback from the teachers. And that's your opportunity to also discuss with your child and with the teachers how you can best assist them to make sure they're being successful in each of their subject areas. Homework is really important skill or aspect of secondary study, and we would expect that Year 7 students should be completing less than an hour across a day's subjects. And it shouldn't be just, if a student comes home and has no homework, we should be getting them into the regular habit of maybe just revising on what they've done during the day. So about an hour each night to ensure they've understood all aspects of the learning that's taking place. Thanks, Nicole. So to ensure that we best assist your child, and that they leave the college confident and well prepared for the future, we believe that this whole learning journey is a partnership between you, us, and your child, and the teachers that are teaching them. So we believe communication is really important. We can't help you or your child if we don't know that if we don't have all the information to best assist them. So we like to keep those gaps of communication open. But also, we will contact you when we think there's a problem, or let you know when they're doing really well. Attendance is crucial at every age and stage of schooling, and we do have a minimum requirement of 80% at all classes. We understand that there are times when it's unavoidable for your child to be at home, and we just request that you let us know, and if need be, supply us with a medical certificate. And that goes with participation in all college activities. These are part of your child's learning throughout the year. It's not just what goes on in their subject classrooms, it's all the activities and services that we provide that's going to build their character and social development. Just remember, we're always here to help, and that the rules and expectations are put in place to help support all members of our community. Thank you, and I'll hand over to, I think it's Leah.
It is.
Thanks, Sol. So one of the things that we've introduced this year in a slightly different way to how we've done it in the past is the pastoral periods. And they happen every Monday during period 2, which you'd be able to see on your child's timetable. And this is where we work with students to ensure that they've got the skills and abilities to handle what's going to come in the real world at them when they finally finish school, but so that we're developing the whole person and not just focusing on solely the academics of things, but to make sure they are ready to take on the challenges that the world does throw at them at times, so that they're ready, that they know what they need to do, that they know where to go for their different supports. It's also the time where we have year level assemblies or house assemblies as they're needed, and depending on how that happens, when or what's covered in those sessions are year level based often. So it's a good time for us to work with the students in a different capacity to their academic abilities. So that's something that they do each week, and we cover a variety of different topics. And Engage, that's me too. So Sector Engage is the parent portal that we have that's associated with our learning management system. Teachers are in the process of getting used to and developing their skill on different areas of sector. So as we're opening up more areas of it, we're training up the staff and the students in some cases before we're making things available to parents. So there will be changes and differences happening as we're going through that development. So at the moment, there'll be slight differences between your view and your child's view, but we will be opening up different sections to parents. So in term 2, course tab will be something you'll be able to see in your Engage, and that will be where you can actually see what the students have been asked to do for that specific lesson. So you'll be able to see what the learning intentions are, what the outline of the learning activities for that lesson was, any resources that go with that as well, to start us as we work through this. So that'll be a great thing to have in term 2. There'll also be an absences tab, so you'll be able to notify us through the app or the web portal about any absences or lateness that your child might have to the college on a particular day, and be able to give us those reasons without having to call up or do any of those things that can sometimes be a little bit difficult. And you'll be able to do that all through the app. The assessment tabs you already have access to, but we are starting to populate that in a different way to we have in the past. So there'll be more information available via that assessment tab. So more greater rubric access, task descriptions, feedback that the students are giving about their own expectations and their own reflections on how they've done with tasks. You'll be able to see all of those things on that, or through that tab. The dashboard tab is something that is there too, and that's a really valuable and important one for parents to know, because there's a lot of information that can actually be seen on that particular tab. And that's where commendations, all the wonderful things we say about your children, go, so you can view them. And also the non-completion of homework notifications, they are visible on there as well at the moment. They're the only 2 things. Again, as I said, we're developing this, so as we get used to more things, there'll be more added and more information for you on there. Absences will be another thing that you'll be able to see there too, so we can monitor what's happening there. There's also homework that's available there for you to view as well. So you can see what the staff are posting, or that your child's teachers are posting for their homework. Sometimes that is just revision reminders, other times it is tasks to complete as well, but it helps you know what's actually going on. The timetable tab is another important one to know, because on that, if you click on the subject square, it actually has the email notification to link directly to that particular teacher. So it's always handy to know that you can contact the teacher for the subject directly, and a little bit easier than normal. And that's just through the timetable tab as well. But as we develop more of this technology and more of what our capabilities in it, there will be more coming out to parents via the newsletter and other communication avenues about how we're going to use this and what the future options for this will be for you as well. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Leah. And I think, you know, this, as I said, this is the last of all of the individual year level nights that we've had. And overwhelmingly, one of the really important pieces of feedback in the question time in particular has been that teacher, it's really important that the teacher is your first port of call if there's a concern or if there's any challenge or you have some questions. And so that button in the timetable that Leah just talked about is invaluable in terms of being able to push the button, write the email, and get some you know, feedback within a couple of days, which is really great. So we're now at that point where we're going to open up for you to ask any questions that you have. On the screen is just a few dot points of suggestions, but you certainly don't have to stick to those topics, but just to get you thinking, then you might have questions about, more questions about assessment, more about sector engage and learn that Leah was talking about. It might be about using the college planner, the diary that the students have, or how to flag if your children have any particular issues that you want to flag for us or get assistance with them. Might be about subject selection for year 8 that Bex mentioned a little bit as well, or anything else. So the way that we do this is we don't use the chat function. We find it's easier if you have a question, if you can press the raise button, it's got a hand and the word raise underneath at the top of your screen. And when you click on that, it will tell us a number so that we can get to people in turn as well. So I'll call out your name, and when I call out your name, if you just unmute and ask your question, we'll do it that way. So feel free to click raise and we'll get started with the questions. Thank you, Barney.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for the responsive teachers to date.
So we're really struggling. I'm struggling to hear you. Is everyone else as well?
How's that? I'm
Yeah.
leaning closer. No.
Persevere. It's very, very low, but we'll see how we go.
No, is that better?
A little?
Okay, I might abort because it's not. Thank you.
No worries. Right. Any other questions at this point? Ritu. So hopefully I'm saying these names right.
Yes, yes, correct. Actually, just want to know about the assessment and the other things like going on in the class. Actually, I'm a bit happy with my son. He used to always tell me what he's doing in the class, and I saw already the assessment he's doing, and sometime he just show me on his laptop that the assessment is already been checked. But the few things what comes in my mind that how's the things are going on. Actually, lots of things come in my mind because this is the grade 7. He just he's new there, and even we don't know how to go with the studies and everything. He used to tell me, Mom, I have already done my homework and my teacher has given me few of the things, but just want to overview few things so that it would be a bit easier for us so that we can guide him at home as well. But most of the time he used to tell me that, Mom, I've already done my homework and my assessment and everything. So just give me a little idea so that I can go ahead accordingly what's exactly the things are going on. Yeah.
So, Ritu, as Leah just overviewed, probably with homework in particular, the best way to do that we've started this year is to go to, are you on Sector Engage?
Sector Engage. Oh yeah, the Sector Engage. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
the
saw
learning
that
management
one once.
system. Yeah, so if
Yeah,
you go into Sector Engage and click on Dashboard on the left-hand side, there's a whole square where all the homework for the different subjects are listed. So if he's
yes.
saying he doesn't have homework, you can go in there and check that. And straight away you'll see that the homework for all the various subjects he has is in there, and you'll be able to check and say, well, have you done this? Have you done that? So that will probably drive him a little crazy, but that's okay. Does somebody else want to say anything about some advice about assessments or anything else about assessment?
Yeah. Actually, he already showed me that one on his laptop, and I saw that he has already done his homework, and it was
Oh, that's
showing the
great.
assessment. Yeah, and even yesterday he showed me the health and the education one. It was totally like green. It was showing a green, and he said, "Mama, look, I have done, and it's showing green color. That means I did a good job." I don't know about that, but he was showing me that one. So normally
Sounds
he
like
used to
he's doing
discuss with
everything.
me.
It sounds like at this point he's doing everything he should be. So that's wonderful. Thanks so much, you
Yeah,
two.
thank you.
Veronica.
Thanks.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to know on the dashboard, which is a great inclusion to have the homework. I've also got a year 8, so yeah, having that addition this year has been awesome. My only thing is there's no dates attributed to any of the homework, or days that it's due or anything like that. Is that going to be something that the teachers are able to provide? And even with the assessments as well, like there's no real, like I noticed that one assessment, I can't remember if it was year 7 or year 8, I noticed one assessment had May 2024, like, which is I assume right before report writing or something like that. But yeah, like just some more structured dates so that we can help them out to be able to achieve them, and time management.
Do you want to go for
Yep,
it, Lee? Yeah.
Absolutely agree, Veronica. We've got that down definitely with the homework, especially with those dates. We are going to be feeding that back to staff and trying to get them to be a lot more specific with that information for sure. And with the assessment task, we're also in the process at the moment of showing the teachers how to update those dates specifically for their class, and then how to also release that information in a timely manner to everybody as well. So that is coming up. We are still in that training period and transition period for all of this, but we're absolutely agree and taking on that feedback. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Barney.
Is that better?
Much better.
All right, I worked it out. So firstly, I want to say thank you. The teachers that I've emailed have come back in a really timely way and a very productive way. So thank you very much. My initial query was around the homework. So my understanding was homework really is just around what they didn't complete in class or additional assignments. So is that, I guess that's what we're working to. Is that right?
But as Danny said too, it can also be things like reading their novel or, going over the notes that they might have taken, especially if, the year 7s don't have exams, but in other year levels, that could also, that regular study and making sure that they're on top of everything.
That's probably the major sort of focus for us at the moment is around, what is for homework when some shared experiences. And on the last person who spoke, there was a May deadline for, I think it was a Chinese dynasty assignment, but there was reading the rubric, there was phases and things that they needed to achieve or work towards for that, but it didn't. But and I contacted the teacher, and my teacher was really great, but it didn't. It just was. I guess my son didn't understand how he was supposed to work towards achieving the end goal, and I'd like to get it to a point where it's more. I'd like to get my son to understand what's required of him rather than me have to dig it out from the teachers, because I think that's really important.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that I'm assuming that was in humanities, and humanities
Correct.
is still using the model where there's benchmarks along the way, they're called, and they all contribute to the final mark. So so important though that the students all understand that along the way. Absolutely. So but did you say that you'd made that point to the teacher and they'd responded positively?
No, I sort of dug it out, and they came back with it really quickly. But I think it's really important for the student to understand that their journey is like the end goal is, I guess what they're trying to achieve is that growth.
Yeah,
not just hand in this piece and that's it.
100%.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Sandra.
Oh, hi. Thank you. just have a question around, so year 7, do they have any tests or exams at the end of the year for all subjects?
So there's no exams in year 7. They do tests. They do a number of different tests during the year. I might hand over to Anita in a minute to talk about some of the more sort of diagnostic tests that we do. So there are opportunities for them to get some of that exam type experience. But they would also be doing tests in various subjects as well to get that practice. But Anita might want to say something more about the diagnostic tests that they do.
Yeah, so in year 7, they've already, so the PAT-R, so the PAT reading test, where they'll sit that at the start of the year and at the end of the year, and in the process of their PAT maths testing being done. So that's the diagnostic to be able to sort of give us where they're sitting sort of in comparison to other peers their age. As well as in year 7, the other big test that obviously they do is NAPLAN, which is coming up next week. So there's that test that they do.
And they're all
Okay,
really
sure.
great experiences of what it's like to sit a formal exam, because they're all, you know, in one big space for the most part. Not all of them, but some of them are in one big space and, you know, under exam conditions. So there's that sort of sense that they're getting a little bit of a go at having an exam, but without the high stakes of an actual exam, which is, you know, a much preferable situation in year 7 when there's so much for them to cope with that's new.
Yeah, a nice
Sure,
gradual
understand.
sort of ease into sort of a test exam situation.
Absolutely.
And
On
just
to-
wondering, are the
sorry, go for it.
results? Sorry,
Sorry.
I was going to ask if you share the results for the PAT tests with parents.
Yeah, that's a good question. In the past, we haven't previously, but what I
Not
can
unless
do
a parent
is
requested.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I can feed that back to our head of English and head of maths to see if there was an easy way. You know, if we were able to share that data easily to parents, but we've always provided that data if a parent has requested it.
Okay. So I guess it's upon request.
Yeah. At the moment, that's the case.
Yeah, I will discuss with both of those learning leaders to see is there a way that we can easily get that information out to parents.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
I think that's a great sort of way for you to sort of see where they're sitting, and to be able to sort of analyze the
support where
types
we
of
can.
questions. Yeah, the types of
Mhm.
questions, because it does break it down in the PAT reading and the PAT maths, the types of questions that they're finding challenging, and that can be really useful data for parents to use if kids have tutors and other programs that they're involved in. So I'll take that back to the team, and we'll see what we can do with that.
Sure, thank you. And sorry, I do have another question.
Yeah.
In a classroom, does each student, I guess, progress at their own pace? Are their homeworks, I guess, like personalized, I guess, or are they learning at the same level?
Do you want to say something about that, Anita? That differentiation?
Yeah. So homework should be differentiated for the students. What we're asking some teachers is to make sure that they're explicitly touching base with those students who need that differentiated homework. While the homework goes up on sector for all students, for what they have to complete, there might be some different messaging and information given to particular students that this is what I want you to focus on. So it's a differentiated approach to that.
Okay,
and that can be both those students that you know, need more work because, you know, they're not being stimulated enough, as well as those who need more support. So both ways we can differentiate.
Yeah, absolutely. The extension is probably equally just as important to be able to differentiate that some other kids may actually indeed need further extension with their homework.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Arju. Trang.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I just had a question around
you said that on the Sector app, you can view the assessments that the teacher have given or the feedback they've given for certain assignments or tasks within class. So I was just having a look and I was just trying to make sense of it. It has columns with, you know, on the left hand, it says weight and a number next to it. And then along the right, it has different numbers as well. So is the weight what they're expected to achieve? And then the right, their sort of score, the student score? Is that how I'm reading it, or is it a different way?
Leah.
That is a great question, Trang, because
Yeah.
it can actually be set up in different ways for different classes or different subjects and topics. There shouldn't actually be a weighting on
No.
the tasks. So I'm very intrigued that you've said that, and I'm having a quick look at some now to see if I can actually figure that out. But there shouldn't be the weighting. There might be what the overall score is. So it might be out of 100 or out of 60. So that should show, but there shouldn't be a weighting. So I'll look into what's going on there so we can remove that, because we don't want that confusing people. But you should be able to see in the overview, if it's there, what it's out of and what the students are required to do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
The weighting's just about how many, what percentage of the overall score each task that we have for the semester is contributing. But yeah, certainly doesn't need to be there. That's a teacher thing. Thanks so much, Trang.
Thank you.
Peter.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, just a question in regards to absences. My child will be absent for a minor surgery later in the year. Is there a way that we can request homework in advance for that absence?
Danny or Beck, one of you want to respond to that one?
Thanks, Peter. So what the best thing to do would be to contact your child's house leader with those dates of when they will be absent, and they'll sort of liaise with you about what will be coming up at that time, and what will be required of the of your son or daughter. As Leah was saying, all of our activities are up on Sector. So at that time, especially if it's later in the year, they will be able to see what's happening in each of the classes, so that they will be able to, if they're up for it, because if they're having surgery, they may not be, doing some of those little work. But in that instance, there would really be no expectation if you're recovering from a medical episode or a medical experience that would be doing things. So it would just be up to you with liaising with the house leader as what would be appropriate.
Beautiful, thanks for that.
No worries at all. Ritu again, I think.
Yes, I just want to know about the numeracy test, what we call the NAPLAN one. My son told me that he will get that link on Friday, so he will going to do practice in school. So just want to ask you, do he need to practice at home, and do you provide us any link about that one or no?
Do you want to go for it, Annette?
Yeah, I'll go for it. NAPLAN's not necessarily something that you can study for. But they have been doing it since year 3, so year 3, year 5, now in year 7. On the NAPLAN website, there are actually sample papers that if you did want to have your child practice, then you can. Although the only difference with that is it'll be you'd download it and print it out. They do complete now their NAPLAN all online on their laptop. So you could look at doing some practice if that's what you wanted to be able to do.
Yeah, yesterday we were trying and it was locked, and he said, Mama, it's not opening. So we didn't try again, and he's waiting till it will going to be unlocked. So yeah, and
So
one thing more,
what I'm saying is the actual NAPLAN website has sample past papers from previous years that you can practice.
So where you're trying,
not the link.
Yeah,
not the link, because it may not work because I believe it's not opened up for the students until they are doing their NAPLAN. He's
Mhm.
been given the link so that at SPC, Mr. Lunardelli, and at Notre Dame, Mr. Crimi, because they need to check that the students have a locked down browser to be able to do the test. So I don't believe that that link will be live for the students until they are doing the test.
Okay, sure. And one more question I want to ask, like, we just want that please share with us the assessment and the other homework and the other things so that we get to know that where they are they progressing or they need some more work to do or something like
So
that
all
so
of
that
that,
we can
yeah, all of
yeah
that is available on
communicate.
Sector. So that's what Leah was talking about before. I don't know if you want to say anything more about that at this stage, Leah.
Just more to remember though, we are working with our staff on building
Mm.
their capacity in this. So it's a bit, we recognise it's a little bit all over the place and that there's not necessarily the feedback at the moment, but that will be coming in the next couple of weeks. So if there's things not happening in that space in the assessments in a few weeks, then get in contact with us and we'll follow it up as well and find out what's going on. But we just need to give staff a little bit of time to get their heads around a new system.
Yeah,
And if
I
you
understand that. Yeah.
And if you have any concerns or questions and you don't feel like you're getting enough information from a particular teacher, don't forget you can
Yeah.
always email them as well. All right.
All right. All
Don't
right. No
hesitate to
problem.
do that.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for
No
your
worries
help
at
today.
all. Maria.
Is that me? Sorry. Can you hear
Maria,
me well?
yes.
Okay. So I've got a few questions about, because I'm not familiar and getting used to the app. And one of the things that I struggle a lot is actually reaching out to the teachers. So I was wondering if there's a directory where we can find the contact information for the teacher and house leader.
Do you want to take that one, Leah? Yeah.
Yep. So for the subject teachers, the easiest way is through the timetable app in Sector Engage. The students also have a diary that they were given earlier in the year, and at the front of that, I can't remember how close to the front, but in the front of that is house leader names, email addresses, and other contact information, including ours, I think, that you can refer to as well. So the students have that. I'm not sure if there's anywhere on the website. I don't think there is at this point, but that's definitely something we'll add to our list for our new website for development, because that would be a good idea.
Right, thank you for that. The second item that I have is I struggle a lot with the schedule of events and etc. And I get surprises sometimes that they are happening tomorrow and it's haven't prepared. Although I did put them in calendar, it's just so frustrating sometimes when there are multiple events in the week. So I was wondering, similar to other school, if there's a way that we can monitor it in one area where the upcoming events are for the year school or something. Is there one available already?
Do parents see the calendar on Sector, Leah? No, they don't. No. So, I mean, that's definitely some feedback we can take back to leadership and have a think about. Yeah. Thank you so much for that feedback.
That's all. Thank you.
No worries at all. Sandra. No. So we might have a couple of people here. Maria, did you have another question? No, I just don't think your hand's gone down. LNG Grieve.
Yes, thank you. It's Lavinia and Callum.
Thank you.
Just asking about, understandably, I know teachers are very valuable and hard to get, and our daughter has had a couple of teacher changes quite early, and I think her science teacher changed within a week, and her maths teacher a couple of days is away. So I'm just wanting to know, or we're wanting to know, if there's continuity of learning and someone's filling in, but is there an ability to become aware of that when those changes happen so that we can help support at home?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and this is actually something that came up in one of the other year level nights where parents were, once it was a very rare thing for a
Yes.
teacher to change, and we would
Yeah.
send out notification. But I have to be honest with you, over the last couple of years, in the midst of the teacher shortage, it's
Oh.
becoming so much more regular that we hadn't even recognized that we'd got out of that habit. But another parent brought up exactly the same point. And I took that to leadership last week, and it's certainly something that we're going to try to put in place better to make sure that parents are informed when there is going to be a change. So that science teacher had been hired last year and started the year, and within a week he'd come to us from a tertiary institution, and within a week decided secondary education wasn't for him, that he was going back to teach at uni. So unfortunately, the teacher shortage is throwing up some interesting scenarios for us. But I might say in that we're doing much better than many schools in our area, and I think within a couple of weeks, we're hoping. Definitely by the end of this term, we'll be fully staffed, which is a bit of a miracle given the current context. So doesn't mean that there won't be changes during the year though, but I suppose just be assured that we're doing the best possible job that we can given the really difficult context at the moment.
Yeah. No, and thank you for what you're doing. I realise I spoke to her house leader and he shared that too. And it's more if we can offer support and
absolutely
help them through that change, that everything's okay.
100%.
Continuity,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and the whole purpose of these nights is that that recognition of how important it is for you to be informed enough to be able to provide that support and to be a really significant part of that three-way partnership. So us letting you know when that's going to happen is really important. So yeah, absolutely recognize that. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Mary.
Hey. Sorry, I think I heard the question before, but I just want to make sure. Through SECTA, when I went to the one of the assessment, it says here just like agency knowledge and thinking like about these subjects, and it says wait for. So is that the mark, or how is it marked here? Because
so we'd realized before. Oh, Leah, do you want to take that one? You've unmuted.
Yeah, I've actually just been looking because I embrace my inner nerd, so I've been looking while we've been talking, and I figured out what that wait for is saying is that's the total mark for that line in the rubric. So it means that mark is out of 4, but it shouldn't be there because it is confusing. So we will get that fixed as soon as we can now that I know what that is.
Yeah, so does it usually say as the total mark of the assessment when they do it through the app?
It should, and I'm not sure why it's not, because I just had a look at that one. So I've got that down to have a look at and sort out hopefully tomorrow if I can.
Yeah.
But next week at the latest.
Thanks so much, Mary. Gobi.
Oh, thank you. I just have a question regarding counselor. Does the college has a counselor for the students to go to when they need support?
Anita, do you want to take that one?
Yes, we do. We have a number of counsellors on staff who are from Catholic Care. And if your child wanted to self-refer or you wanted to refer them, you could get in contact with their house leader, and their house leader will put in a referral. However, we had asked that the year 7s did have some check-ins from the counsellors, just to do a little check-in that it's the start of year 7, how are you going? So that might still be happening. I know that they're still doing some check-ins at the moment. But if you did want some specific support, please get in contact with your child's house leader.
The house leader, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason that I'm asking is because I think my child is having issues transitioning to the year 7, and also some discipline issues that he tend to struggle with. So do you suggest that going to the house leader, or should he goes to the
Absolutely.
counselor?
I
No,
think the first, yeah,
Yeah,
go for it,
first
Janelle.
port of call would be the house leader,
Yeah.
and either your child, if they feel confident enough to speak to their house leader, otherwise you can contact them on your child's behalf to say, these are the things I'd really like you to be able to, and the house leader might be the first port of call. They may be able to help support your child. If they can't, they may then determine it needs to have a referral to the counsellors that we have on staff.
Great, thank you. I have a second question regarding the sector. I understand that it's still in the progress of improving to be finalized. So once these are settled, can we get a trading or a sharing from the teachers to the parents on what information that we can get from the web portal from our perspective?
Yeah, we've been definitely talking about having or holding an evening like this for parents just to show them and go through Engage and what it looks like. So once we have things to a point where we can do that and show you all the aspects that we have available, which will probably be next term sometime, we'll put that out to parents to run that and go through how it works and what it does and what you can find on there as well. So absolutely in the planning.
All right, thank you so much. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Olivia.
Hi, I have a question about the 7 Music Plus program. I have a son who's doing that, and I understand that music is offered to everyone in year 7 for 1 semester, and then they do something else in second semester, except the children in 7 Music Plus do music for the entire year. In that second semester, because my son is continuing with music, is he missing out on something else?
No, but he's
An
made the
elective or
choice.
something?
So the two of you have made the choice to that music is a priority, and that's perfectly fine. So he will miss out on one opportunity, but there will be other opportunities for all those different electives, or for different electives from arts and technology as he goes along into year 8 and 9 and 10. All right. So
okay. So just so that we understand, if he's doing music in second semester, is it a technology art subject that he is missing out on?
Music is an art subject, so I would say it would replace one of the art subjects. Yeah. One of the other art subjects that they can do.
Yeah. So potentially next year there's the opportunity for him to do one of those other art subjects.
It might be a different art subject, but certainly there's more opportunities as he goes along to explore the arts in a broader way. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. And once you're in the 7 Plus program, does it continue in year 8 and year 9, or is it a
You know
year
what? That's a really good question. I've found out more about 7 Plus this year, but I don't know about year 8. Does anyone else? That might be a question we have to take on notice. Does anyone else know? Yeah. So we'll find out. If you could email me, Nicole Allen, just so that I know who you are to email back. And I'll find out and let you know. All right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Sathish.
Hello. My question is regarding how math is taught in year 7. Like, is it math pathways or is it taught in the class?
We don't have math pathways at Emmanuel College anymore. So this is the first year where there's no maths pathways. So we have moved to a different support package. It's called Maths Space. And so there's a textbook attached to that, and that the textbook is used at school. The students have a physical textbook for use at school, but they also have an online version of the textbook that they can utilize at home for homework. So you might ask your child to show you that if you haven't seen that so far. And the online version also has other activities and problem solving problems and other things that they can access as well. So so the product that we now use is called Maths Space.
Thank you very much.
It's quite different to Maths Pathways. Maths Pathways was very much the student sitting in front of a computer almost in some ways teaching themselves with the teacher support, but we've moved back to more of the teacher directed, student centered, but more teacher directed classroom experience for the students.
Thank you. My question is like, is the ID and the password already provided for this math space, or?
Yeah, they've been using it since the beginning of the year. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No worries at all. Antu. Antu, did you have another question? No, that's okay. All right. So I think, we have Ralph. Ralph?
Yes. Just a quick question. You talked about. Maybe I'll let him go first. Let him go first.
I had a question around group learning, and is it?
Sorry,
Hello?
hello? Are you there?
Hello? Hello? Can you hear
I can
me?
hear you.
Oh, sorry, I've got a question around group learning. What's the targeted percentage of assessment is assigned to group learning?
Somebody take that. I just need to shut my door. The cleaner is singing and making noise and I can't hear.
So at Emmanuel, we do have a focus on collaboration, but each subject will have different assessments or different class tasks that they actually have assigned as a collaborative task. So it does vary which assessment will be collaborative and which one will be individual based. Usually we would say that if it's a project-based learning subject such as humanities, then the final product is usually that collaborative one and the benchmarks along the way are individual. In the other areas, we'll probably find that there are more individual tasks than collaborative ones that will be assessed. But it does vary depending on subject, depending on assessment task.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thanks. Barney.
What's the number of emails staff receive from parents during a day?
Oh, that's a good question. We get lots of emails during the day from various places, but yeah, that would vary. But yeah, we do get lots of emails, but manage to control them and get back to them. We ask our staff to have responded within 2 days, so that's what you can expect. Hello.
Yeah, that's
Ralph,
it. Thank you.
That's it? Beautiful.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Suryani.
Hi. Would like to ask if there's an easy way for us to understand what the students are learning within each of the subjects.
So I think probably the best way, number one, is to ask your child and get them to show you what they're doing. But you can also get that information from, we'll be able to get that information from Sector. As Leah said a few times, we are in the development of it. Is there anything that you want to add to that, Leah?
No, just that it'll be coming in term 2 where you'll be able to see lesson by lesson what the students are getting. The students do have that on their view at the moment, but it isn't as consistent as we would like it to be as we train staff on it. So that's why we're waiting to term 2. So they will be able to show you certain things at this point in time if you need to see that from their view. So it'll be the same courses tab that you'll have. But as we develop, it'll be term 2 for parents to be able to see that on a regular basis or daily basis, actually, for each period, each subject.
And until then, you could ask your child to, so I know in my subject at the beginning of the term for the unit that we're doing this semester, which is Year 9 RE, I handed out a planner so that all the details of all the things that we're going to do for this term is there, when the assessment task is going. So the students are likely to have a similar planner document for most subjects where they know ahead of time for that unit that they're working on what's going to happen. So they'll have that in their book or in their folder. The reason we want to move to sector is because that enables you to engage in that and have that knowledge much more significantly, rather than trying to find the handout that the student's been given. So it'll be really great once we have moved fully to that next term, and you'll be also able to get that information. All right.
Thank you.
No worries at all. Ralph, were you back again, or have?
Yep.
Yep, great.
Quick question. You talked about these electives before, so where you have like, the Japanese and the Italian, and then they can decide for year 8 to have that then, as a more year-long subject. Are there other decisions like that, or other subjects like that coming up in year 7 that make kind of a bit of a pathway for the following years?
So at the end of year 7, as Beck said, the only decision they have is about the language. And then at the end of year 8, they will decide. They have a lot more choice moving into year 9. But from year 7 to year 8, it's just the language.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
No worries at all. Olivia.
Hi, sorry, I have one more question, just further to what somebody said about group work, collaborative group work online. So I'm just trying to find out, I have an older child at the school who last year had a bit of an issue with doing group work that was, what's it called, online, where they all had to contribute. But the issue my daughter was having was that the teacher couldn't tell which people in the group were contributing the work to it. And it turned out my daughter was doing a lot. I brought it up with the teacher. The teacher said I wasn't aware because they can't see who's contributed what. The teacher took that as feedback and said, we'll try and figure that out so we can see that all group members are contributing. I'm just wondering, officially in the new year, has that been fixed? Can teachers always see on group online work, like when it's a shared document, that's what I mean, where they all contribute to the document, can teachers see if all members of the group are contributing?
I think there are ways that you can ensure that in your teaching practice and in your pedagogy. Certainly I employ a number of different strategies. I'm sure the other teachers here do as well, to make sure that you're very aware of each person's contribution. And some of that is about the way the work's done and recognizing that, and simple things like asking the students to put the name on each, if it's a PowerPoint, the name on the slides that they did. But it's also about how you're working with the students while they're completing the assessment task. So majority of that should be done in class, and you're walking around and you're making sure that everyone's contributing, and you're making sure that you're understanding exactly where students are at too. So there's lots of other ways and other strategies that you can employ to make sure that that's the case. In terms of whether or not it's possible online, I'm assuming the teacher last year would have been using Google Classroom, where it wouldn't have been possible, I don't think, Leah. I don't know whether it's possible within the Microsoft package to tell who's contributed.
Yeah, it actually is. So we do have it on Scope to show staff how they can find that information to see who's contributed to what document, PowerPoint, Word, Excel, whatever it might be that they're using, and can see how often and what changes they've made and all of those different things. So it is part of our training for staff in upskilling them on that for this year too.
Oh, thank you so much. And I think it was Google Classroom.
Yeah.
That may have been why the teacher couldn't tell. But yes, thank you for that.
And we've now moved away from Google Classroom completely, and focusing on sector and building our skill and knowledge around sector. So yeah, thank you so much. All right, now I may have Olivia. Was that Olivia that we just had?
Yeah, I'm done. That was me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And you were the final question. So that's perfect timing. So we're 8:01, just over an hour. So all that's left really is to just say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for, such a really amazing expression of your interest in your child's journey in year 7, and that, as I said, that important transition year from a primary school to secondary school. Just know that we are here to help, and we're here to, and very happy to answer any questions or work with you if you're feeling like there's, any challenge or anything that your child needs to continue to pursue their personal best. That's what we're all about. And as I said, really happy to work with you and have you along for that journey too. It's so important that you're just as engaged in everything that's happening at school as your sons and daughters are. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you to the Learning Executive team, and we'll wish you a good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.